Welcome to Keeping It Real, a podcast to inform our Dallas residents about the City of Dallas services, events, and initiatives. My guests today are Candi Green, Assistant Director of the Office of Bond and Construction Management, and Jenny Kerzman, Assistant Director of Treasury from the City's Controller's Office. Welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Definitely. Well, the city is actively preparing our 2024 capital bond package for voter consideration later on, presumably in May of 2024. With the planning subcommittees and the community town halls underway, this is a great time to gain further insight into the city's treasury and bond process, from exception to execution, and also to discuss the city's upcoming bond issuances. This is very important, obviously, to the city, as well as our residents. So hopefully today's conversation with you, Jenny, and you, Candi, will help figure out how we can share with the community how we collaboratively work together within City Hall to find a way to administer what we believe is hopefully going to be a successful bond outcome. So why don't we go on and get started? I'll start with you, Candi. Can you explain your department's role in the city's bond program development and management?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. The Office of Bond and Construction Management was created in 2018 to provide oversight of the city's bond programs and to ensure the efficient, equitable, and transparent delivery of infrastructure improvements to the Dallas community. We established uniformity across city infrastructure departments through developing and employing policies for project management as well as financial management of the bond programs. And in addition to our oversight functions, we also have a project delivery team that is responsible for managing those projects that were approved in the 2017 bond program in the critical facilities proposition. And the 2017 bond program was approved in November of that year at a value of a little over $1 billion. It included 10 propositions. Funding for street and transportation improvements were included, park and recreation facilities, also economic development, housing, and homeless were also included in that bond program, along with critical facilities that I previously mentioned. And one of our responsibilities in our office is to report the status of the bond programs also. And we do that through a quarterly report to the Dallas City Council. So each quarter, we provide a summary of the project statuses as well as the financial statuses of the bond. And as of June 30th, 2023, we reported 96% of our projects as being either complete or under award. And with that, the 17 bond program is winding down, and we are now actively engaging the community in our next bond, which is scheduled for May, at an estimated value right now of $1.1 billion.
Oh, wow. Well, listen, I know that's been talked about for several months. And so one of the things I wanted to better understand as well is just what kind of community engagement is your department undertaking to inform the community about the 2024 bond program?
We understand that it is incredibly important to engage the community as we go through this process. And so we're engaging in two major ways. The first is through our virtual open house series. These are monthly WebEx meetings where we invite the public to join us to understand more about the bond program, as well as to share their input regarding priorities and allocations in the bond. So we began that series in May of this year, and we will conclude that next month in October. But in addition to our virtual open houses, we're also engaging through our in-person town hall series. We began that in June of this year. We completed that round, which was our first round, I should say, and we're now preparing to embark upon our second round to begin next week on the September 26th, and it will run through October 19th. And so with the in-person town halls, we collaborate with members of the Dallas City Council. We're out in the communities, and this is an opportunity also for our residents to come out, hear what we understand our progress, where we are, and also provide their input as we finalize that bond.
Well, how's that been going?
It's been going really well. We've been receiving quite a bit of feedback from the community through our virtual open houses as well as our in-person.
Well, good. Can you kind of take me through, I think the planning, I guess, is what I would like to learn more about for the program, from the initial planning stages up until, I guess, actual election day, kind of what goes on.
Yes, sir. So we are responsible in the bond office for leading the city's effort in bond development. And our process started around June of last year, and it began with a review of our city's needs inventory. So an inventory list is just a list of city needs projects that we hope to at some point in the future address. And so the department staff, who are our technical experts, our subject matter experts, they start with the needs inventory, they comb through it, they clean it up, they update cost estimates, and then they apply their technical criteria to the projects on the needs inventory. And they use that to prioritize the projects. Once they've prioritized the projects and have a recommendation, they then forward that on to the Community Bond Task Force. So the Community Bond Task Force, which is ongoing now, they are reviewing the staff's recommendation. They are a 15-member task force with each member appointed by members of the Dallas City Council. Along with that task force are 5 subcommittees as well that are responsible for the review. And their role is to, again, review the projects, the recommendations from the staff, and also finalize that package. In November, we're expecting them to complete their work, and in December, a briefing to the Dallas City Council. Now, should the Dallas City Council approve the package, they'll call the election in January of 2024 for a May election. And at that point, it's in the voters' hands. If the voters approve the bond package, that's when we hand it over to my colleague Jenny here to begin the bond issuances, which fund the projects that would be approved in the 2024 package.
Well, seems like, the process started. It's going through, I think,
Yes,
a bunch of the, I guess, tough decisions and education from the bond committees, the subcommittees, and even the residents. And so I'm glad to hear that interaction between your office and our residents is happening the way it is. I think that's how we dreamed it up several years ago. I think it's been successful, particularly as it relates to our 2017 program and the buy-in we got from that. And I guess the next phase of the process is going to be handled by the Treasury Division in the Controller's Office. So, Jenny, can you talk a little bit about your department's role, I guess, in the funding and the bond program and the process of issuing bonds? And I know it's probably not all sexy and it's not as interesting maybe to some people, but can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yes, we don't have as much interaction with the public as Candi's group does, but very happy to be here and tell you a little bit more about that. So as Candi mentioned, the city's Treasury Division is tasked with funding the voter-approved capital improvements as part of the bond program by issuing the general obligation bonds. So in terms of the bond program, if voters approve a bond proposition in the election ballot, then the city is authorized to sell the bonds up to the amount indicated in that proposition language to fund the capital improvement projects that meet the public purpose of that bond proposition. So it has to go to the voters first. For example, in November of 2017, when the voters approved Proposition G as part of that bond package, that allows the city to issue up to $32 million to fund public safety facilities. So debt issuance can be a bit complex, but to put it very simple, a municipal bond, or a muni, as we call it, is simply a debt obligation issued by a state or local government to raise money for public projects. So when we're issuing muni bonds, the investor loan money to the city, right? And then so we are borrowing the funds for a defined period of time. We agree to pay principal and interest, and the payment usually is for a period of 10 to 25 years. And that depends on the project and the type of bonds that we issue. So under the guidance of the city's chief financial officer, Jack Ireland, the Treasury Division then is responsible for the issuance of the bonds. And we work together with the other departments, whatever department is involved in this specific project. We're our financial advisors, bond counsel, rating agencies. We usually have a presentation to show them what we have, what the city does, our capacity to pay back those bonds. Sometimes we deal directly with the underwriters. So everything is done in compliance with the city's policies, financial management performance criteria, and of course, federal and state regulations. During the process, there are specific documents that we must have during every bond process and disclosures that are required. One of the most important documents is the official statement, as we call it, the OS. So the OS is used to market the bonds. In that document, we talk about everything that the city is doing. It's just all that information that the investors need in order for them to make an informed decision. We do not want them to not really know what they are investing on. It's the process to show how solid the city is, for them to be comfortable with investing in the city of Dallas, and we have been very successful with that. Failure to include all the material could cause some problems for us. So we have a great team that ensures that every bond transaction is a smooth process.
Well, can you expand a little bit on, I think, the different types of bonds and how do we pay back the investors? How does that work?
Absolutely. Well, the two most common type of muni bonds are general obligation bonds and revenue bonds. Major differences are voter approval and the source of funds investors I pay from. For example, general obligation bonds, GOs. These are backed by the full faith and credit of the city of Dallas. They're repaid with general revenue, including property taxes, which are paid by residents. Then we have revenue bonds. Those are repaid from a specific source. For example, utility fees are used to repay water and wastewater bonds. Other special taxes like the hotel occupancy tax, well, those are used to pay for bonds issued for special projects. And don't we all know, the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center, Dallas Master Plan, and Fair Park renovation. So those will be used, that will be paid back from all of the revenue received from hotel occupancy tax.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Convention Center Master Plan and the Fair Park renovations. What can you tell us about those exciting projects?
You're absolutely right. Very, very exciting projects. So as you know, we have been working on this for a long time. So May of this year, the GPFM committee was briefed on the financial planning, everything that is going to be done to issue those bonds. Obviously, this is supported by Chapter 334 of the Texas Local Government Code, which is known as the Brimer Bill. This is a 2% increase on the hotel occupancy tax. Voters approved it in November of last year. So right now, the bill, the Brimer Bill, requires that we issue bonds within 1 year of starting collecting that additional fee or levy. So we began that in January 2023. So we have been very busy working on that to meet that deadline. So we're working obviously with staff at the Convention Center, Rosa Fleming, and financial advisors. And the first plan is to execute short-term financial transaction by the end of October. That would be the most effectively way to comply with the Brimer legislation. And then, of course, to meet that initial project funding needs. The plans is to issue a long-term debt next year. We will be refunding any outstanding short-term debt, and then we're going to finance just the overall projects in late 2024 and any other potential transactions that are required to get that project going. So issuing bonds comes of any type, comes with a unique set of opportunities and challenges, but we're very excited to be part of this monumental project for the city of Dallas. I know it's going to be game changer for us. Very, very excited to be part of it.
Well, listen, ladies, first of all, I appreciate both of you. You've got tremendous responsibilities, and the importance of the work that you do behind the scenes to move these things along definitely are something that I know our residents are excited about and can be proud of, and understood that we've got two people capable to make sure, one, that we know what we're going to build and we get it constructed in a timely manner, and two, that we can pay for it at the end of the day and people feel good about it being paid back. So again, thank you so much, and I appreciate you coming and having a conversation with us today. And so thank you all for listening to Keeping It Real. If you would like to listen to more episodes, please follow us on the City of Dallas social media and YouTube channels under the video section. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.